Welcome to Living with an Invisible Learning Challenge, where we will discuss and discover the challenges and triumphs of those living with NLD, nonverbal learning disability, and other learning challenges such as autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dysgraphia, and any other invisible learning differences that one may live with. And I like to interview individuals as well who live with various learning challenges. So if you know anybody, please point me their way, or if you are that individual, I would love to interview you on various topics. So please let me know. And I welcome you to this podcast. This podcast or episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. I have had 8 years, 8.5 years actually, of therapy, so I know it can change your life if you not only let it, but work on the personal goals that you set with your therapist. Without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy works, but what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like to some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships or at work, not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, or even live chat sessions with your therapist so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy and you can start communicating with your therapist in 48 hours. In under 48 hours, actually. Join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. And special offer to Living with Invisible Learning Challenge listeners, you get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/code. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ Living with Invisible Learning Challenge. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast. And Patreon is also sponsoring this podcast, which is a way for you to offer different resources for your listeners for your podcast. So I have on there transcriptions of the episodes and audio. So if you would like to purchase those, the audio without ads is $5. With the transcription, it's $10. So I'll provide the Patreon link for that. And Spotify also sponsors the podcast. So if you want to become a supporter, please just donate $1 a month. That's very helpful. I don't use the money myself. I don't really want to make money off this podcast. I use the money for donating to the NBLD project, or if I do use it myself, I actually use it to pay off the website that I created for this podcast. So it goes back into the podcast either way. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode that is going to be on minimizing distractions. Oh, and there's also podcast swag. So if you want to look into that, that is on Redbubble, and I'll provide a link for that as well. Thank you. Good morning and happy Friday. I am going to be recording today on a topic I've done before, but I thought I would do it again since it's been a while. So today's episode will be about burnout and being neurodiverse. I experience a lot of this because of having chronic migraines along with NLD. I also know that I'm not the only one who does. I have many friends who are neurodiverse and have chronic pain conditions too. I'll use some articles to support this episode and my own experience with this too. I have tried everything the FDA has approved for migraines, and only 10 treatments help me consistently. Many of the things I have tried stopped working after my body got used to them over time. Everyone is different, so um, I'm not sure if it's helpful for me to say what helped and didn't. I'll share what I do now. So I take Botox, Vyepti, peppermint oil, migraine relief tea capsules, hot showers, eat food regularly, ginger ale if I'm nauseous, verapamil, topiramate, memetitin, Benadryl. I drink lots of water with electrolytes in them. And basically, that's what I use. Um, Botox is every 3 months. So is Vyepti. That's an IV. That's a pretty new drug. And peppermint oil, I actually apply that onto my skin, near my ears and the temples and the back of my ears. And I actually apply to my tongue as well. And it does help with the pain. It's homeopathic, so it's in nature, so it's okay to use. The migraine relief tea is pretty easy as well because it's from loose leaf tea in Carlsbad, and one of my friends found that for me, and I did use it as a tea first, but I decided to try it as capsules. So what I do, I grind it up into a powder and then I put it into capsules, and I do that because it's stronger that way than drinking it as a tea all day long. Um, and then verapamil, I take 180 milligrams of that every day. That's quite a bit, but some people take more. Um, Ginger ale, that's as needed if I'm nauseous. Topiramate, that's 25 milligrams every other day. That's actually to curb my hunger. That's not particularly for migraines, but it can help migraines as well. Memetitin, that is 10 milligrams twice a day. Um, and that does seem to be helping with the pain level. That's an off-label drug for migraines, meaning it's not usually prescribed for migraines. Benadryl, that I take 25 milligrams twice a day, and that I kind of added in myself because I know the weather changing is a trigger for me, and so that seems to help. Um, and then drinking lots of fluids and hot showers, anything with heat seems to help me. Some people have different triggers. Some people like to be hot, some people like to be cold, some people like to be in between. I run cold, so I like to be warm. Um, everybody's different. So I do have other friends that have migraines too, and they also experience burnout. I feel like it catches up with me towards the end of the year. I like to rejuvenate myself when I am up at our family cabin and during the holidays. You need to take care of yourself, and sometimes your body reminds you when to do that. So the first article was titled, What to Know About Neurodivergent Burnout, medically reviewed by Nicole Washington, um, written by Beth Sions in July of this year. Neurodivergent burnout may cause symptoms such as chronic exhaustion, increased sensory sensitivity, and loss of skills. This is the quote from the article. Taking time of off and lowering self expectations may help with recovery. Neurodivergent burnout experienced by those with autism or ADHD often involves exhaustion, anxiety, skill loss, and reduced quality of life. Recovery tips include early recognition, social support, taking breaks, focusing on strengths, and setting boundaries. For autistic individuals, unmasking and building a supportive community can aid recovery, while ADHD specific approaches include using assistive tools and enjoying outdoor activities. Support for neurodivergent children may involve teaching energy management, creating routines, and encouraging authentic self expression. For crisis support, call or text 988 in the US or find local resources, close quote. Excuse me. That was a suicide number that they gave. I've actually used that myself sometimes. Um, I've never attempted suicide, but sometimes I've had those thoughts of just, um, how do I put this? Um, Last year or a couple years ago when I wasn't where I am now, I was very lonely and just didn't have many friends outside of the where I work, and I felt like I didn't really want to be here, and I was too consumed with the pain of migraines. Sometimes I still feel that way. Um and I did reach out to 988, and they are very helpful actually. They can help you understand your situation and give you support and ask you, do you have support around you? And now for me, I don't have those feelings as much anymore. I mean, I do wish I didn't have migraines. I do have some more friends, which is better. And I have a place of my own to live in, so I'm doing a lot better than I was. Not that I wasn't doing well before, it just was harder before, I would say, on me. Um, and that article does give some good suggestions of taking breaks and um, trying to have early recognition of your burnout and have social support and focus on your strengths and set boundaries. I mean, you need to be able to do that for yourself. Even if you're neurotypical, I'm sure you have burnout as well. And you need to be able to, see if you um, need to take care of yourself, like take a day off or maybe even take a weekend retreat, depending on what you need to do. Um, so the next article is titled Burnout and Neurodiversity. Katie Rose Guest Pyrol is the author. Living Neurodivergence. What is this? What is the connection? What is the solution? Posted May 20th of this year. Reviewed by Jessica Sw- Schwartzter. Sorry if I said that wrong. Quote, key points: burnout is a collapse from long term overwork or stress recognized as a real syndrome by the ICD 11. Neurodivergent people are more susceptible to burnout because they use energy acting in quotes normal. Burnout is an institutional problem, not an individual one, and it requires institutional solutions, close quote. So I wanted to provide that because I want you to feel like you're not alone in this situation. Everybody has these experiences, and it is common. I mean, I think I think you can take COVID as an example, actually, because that was a big time of isolation, and people probably were recuperating from maybe being laid off, unfortunately, or losing some family members, unfortunately, as well. Um, and being isolated as well. Not very good combination during that time period. But if you were burnt out before that time period, it might have been a blessing in disguise, COVID, to just kind of recuperate and be like, okay, let me reassess myself and figure out what I really want to do in life. What is my purpose? Am I doing what I want to do? You know, do I like the job I have? I'm just trying to say that COVID might have given you a chance to do that if you were in a situation that you were blessed in that way. So the next article is titled Autism and ADHD Burnout Recovery written by Megan and Neff. Quote, neurodivergent burnout experienced by autistic and ADHD individuals is marked by chronic exhaustion, skill loss, heightened sensory sensitivity, and executive functioning challenges, often exacerbated by masking, unmet needs, and lack of support. Uh, so the quote was, I'll restart. It was neurodivergent burnout experienced by autistic and ADHD individuals is experienced by chronic exhaustion, skill loss, heightened sensory sensitivity, and executive functioning challenges, often exacerbated by masking, unmet needs, and lack of support. Contributing factors include sensory overload, hyperfocus, and overwhelming demands. Recovery involves reducing sensory loads, unmasking, establishing boundaries, prioritizing restorative activities, and creating supportive accommodations. Traditional depression treatments, such as behavioral activation and cognitive reframing, may worsen burnout unless adapted for neurodivergent needs. Tailored recovery strategies focusing on sensory activities, special interests, and rest are crucial for effective healing. Close quote. So, for that article, it was just basically giving you a breakdown of what neurodivergent burnout can be caused by, and how you can try to attack it in a good way, and be able to combat it, and kind of surround it with uh, support, and reframe yourself in terms of maybe seeing what is the blessing behind being burnout, in terms of, okay, I need to reassess my priorities and take care of myself, and be able to um, surround yourself with friends that can help you do that, and family members as well, and maybe a dog if you have one too, and be able to you know just help yourself out. The last article is titled Mental Health: The Other Side of Having NLD by Gabriel. Gabriel is a social worker, professional working and living with NBLD. She is passionate um, about social justice, community connection, and the human experience. Her journey with NBLD was once focused solely on her challenges and failures, but has now transformed into a lifelong experience of healing and self acceptance. Gabriella is a project social ambassador for the NBLD project. So am I. Uh, Quote, in childhood, I developed several tics noticed by my parents and other caretakers, eventually discussed with my pediatrician. She will grow out of those, just a little glitch in her development, but nothing to worry about. What my doctor thought were simply habitual behaviors that needed no intervention were what I now realize as an adult and licensed clinical social worker the early signs of my NBLD and the eventual onset of my OCD and anxiety. These tics and, in quotes, strange habits, peculiarities about me eventually morphed into a full blown breakdowns when I would become overstimulated by my own emotions as a small child and or by the environment around me with no way to fully express what I was experiencing in my body. This often looked like screaming, needing to be held down by an adult, biting my hand until it left a mark, and hitting my head against the wall or table, to name a few examples. They were a typical temper tantrum, but on steroids, triggered by seemingly the smallest things like a change in environment or routine. Close quote. So, actually, I've definitely had experience with some clients in the past that I worked with had tantrums like that. And so I know what some of those are like. And it's not uncommon that you can have those if you um, are autistic or you have ADHD or you have both. Or in this case, Gabriella, uh, has NBLD, anxiety, and OCD, and so she, had those when she was little. She probably doesn't have them anymore as an adult because she probably has, created some, um, behaviors or coping skills, I should say. But this is a very good quote just to kinda show you what a doctor was saying were tics or glitches. It just that's kinda unfair and is a, makes it sounds like it's a stigma because it's like it's something that she was probably born with or it got genetically, um, and it's not fair to say that they're gonna grow out of it when they probably will, but they need help to grow out of it. And so this episode explores neurodivergent burnout and its connection to chronic pain conditions like migraines, drawing from personal experiences and research articles. Neurodivergent burnout, common in those with autism, ADHD, or NBLD, involves chronic exhaustion, sensory sensitivity, skill loss, and heightened emotional challenges, often exacerbated by masking and societal pressures. Recovery requires rest, supportive accommodations, boundary setting, and tailored strategies. The host shares their journey with migraines, that's me, including treatments and self care practices, emphasizing the importance of rejuvenation and listening to the body's needs. The discussion highlights the symptomatic nature of burnout and the necessity of compassionate individualized solutions. So, I hope that episode was helpful for you in terms of letting you know that you're not alone in your burnout and that you can see how I experience and how others experience it as well. And as always, I will provide the links for the articles and the show notes if you want to read more of them on your own. Um, I will talk to you guys next week.
I hope that episode was well worth it for you to listen to and that you were able to take something away from it, even if you don't have a learning challenge, or if you do. I hope it was extra worthwhile for you so that you are able to learn something and maybe journal and jot down some few takeaways so that the next time you experience that challenge yourself, you're able to um, learn how to breathe through it more easily, or maybe not have a meltdown or a tantrum, or be able to take away more learning from it and not make the same mistake twice, and be able to also help somebody else go through that experience if you have a friend who has a learning difference and you are neurotypical. So I hope you will be able to have those some experiences in your life now that you have listened to this episode.